Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. How are you guys? Okay, today inshallah we're gonna complete our lesson. Yesterday we talked about some tools. We learned some tools that scientists use, such as the hand lens and what else we took? The microscope. So the microscope and the hand lens, scientists use them. Why? To see or to observe so tiny things. To see or to observe so tiny things or objects that they cannot see it with their just their eyes. So we use microscope to see so tiny things that we cannot see it with just our eyes. So we learned about some tools. Today inshallah we're gonna complete this. We're gonna learn more tools. Open with me this page 164. Okay, so measure with tools. We will learn. We have different tools that we use them to measure. Different tools, many different tools. We use them in measuring things. So firstly, what does measure mean? Measure to learn the size or amount of something. So measure to learn how much we have in this, in this object. How much, for example, how much we have milk in this glass. So we want to measure the volume of this milk. Measure to learn or to know the size or amount, how much we have, or what is the size of this object, how long is it, and also we can measure the temperature, how hot or cold something is. So measure to learn or to know the size or amount of something, how much we have in this, or how is the size of it, or what is the temperature now. All of these we will learn it inshallah today. So we measure it to know how much, or how what is the size, or what is temperature. Measure to learn, again measure to learn or more, or know the size or amount of something. And we have different tools to measure, many different tools to measure something. So to measure, to learn or know about the size or the amount, the size or the amount of something. As we said, scientists always use tools because tools make their works easier. So they always use tools because tools make their lives or their works easier. And also they measure, but sometimes they don't measure. Sometimes scientists don't measure. So what they do? They estimate. They just estimate. So they don't measure the exactly size of the object. They just estimate. But what does estimate mean? Guess carefully. So they estimate means they guess carefully, or a careful guess. Estimate is a careful guess about the size or amount of something. So measure to know or to learn about the size or amount of something. We use tools to measure something. We use tools. We have many different tools to measure. Also scientists use these tools. Also scientists use these tools to measure something. But they sometimes don't measure, so they don't use tools to measure. They just estimate. They just estimate the size or the amount of something. So estimate means a careful guess. They just guess carefully. They just guess carefully, so they can. When they guess, they are so near to the reality, to the real result. When they estimate, they can be so near to the real result of the size. So Scientists sometimes don't measure, they just estimate, and estimate means a careful guess. So they just guess carefully. They can be near to the real result. They can be so near or so close to the real result just by estimation. Okay, we have so many different tools to measure something. First tool is a thermometer. Can you see? This is a thermometer. So we use thermometer to measure the temperature. We use thermometer to measure the temperature, and temperature means how hot or cold something is. How hot or cold something is. We can measure the temperature of the air. We can measure the temperature of the air of our classroom or our rooms at home. We can measure the temperature of the air. So we can use thermometer to measure the temperature, and temperature is how hot or cold something is. How hot or cold something is. This is first tool to measure something, which is a thermometer, and we use a thermometer to measure temperature. Okay, second tool is a rain gauge. A rain gauge, and it has this shape. So a rain gauge is a tool to measure how much rain has fallen. How much rain has fallen today. Scientists use it to know or to learn or to measure. To measure, so it is a measuring tool. It is a measuring tool. Scientists use it. It's called a rain gauge. Scientists use it to know or to measure how much rain has fallen, for example, today. So this is the second tool. We use it to measure. Okay, in this page we learned the tools that we can use them to measure, and scientists. Okay, measure means to learn or know the size or amount of something. To learn the size or amount of something, and scientists sometimes they don't measure exactly, they just estimate. So they don't use tools to measure, they just estimate, a careful guess. They guess carefully about the result. They guess about its size, its this object size or the amount of something. So they guess carefully. Sometimes scientists don't measure, they just estimate. Estimate, a careful guess. Okay, we have two tools, two measuring tools in this page, which is a thermometer. Thermometer to measure the temperature, to know how hot or cold something is, and a rain gauge. Rain gauge, a tool to measure how much rain has fallen. Okay, in this question, circle the tool that measures how hot something is. Which tool is it? A rain gauge or the thermometer? To measure the how hot or cold something is. Excellent, a thermometer. Okay, circle it now. Circle it like me. A thermometer is a tool to measure temperature, and the temperature means how hot or cold something is. To know how hot or cold something is, we use it sometimes when we are sick. We want to know the temperature of our bodies, so we use a thermometer to measure our temperature. If it's 37 or around 37 degree, it is the normal, so we are inshallah good. If it's 37 or around 37, inshallah, it is the normal degree. Okay, thermometer and rain gauge. What else tools we can use them to measure something? Okay, a clock. All of you know the clock. So the clock is also a measuring tool. What does it measure? Excellent, it measures the time. So the clock measures the time. The clock also a measuring tool which measures time. This is third tool, measuring tool. Okay, fourth one is a measuring cup. Maybe your mom has it in the kitchen. She use it when she bake a cake or when she cooks. Okay, a measuring cup measures volume. So this is a measuring cup also. It is a tool to measure something. So it measures what? Volume. Volume is how much space something takes up. Volume is how much space something takes up, like liquids. So if we have milk in this cup and we want to know its volume, how much milk we have in this cup, we are now asking about its volume. So how much milk we have, we are asking now about the volume of this liquid milk. So we use volume with liquid materials like milk. So we want to know how much milk we have, we are asking about its volume. For example, we have 100 milli. We have 100 milli of the milk. So the volume of the milk is 100 milliliter. So we have 100 milliliter of the milk. This is its volume. The volume is 100 milliliter. So a measuring cup is fourth measuring tool which measures volume. The volume is how much space the matter takes up or something takes up. How much space something like milk takes up in this cup. So we want to know how much milk we have in this cup. We are now asking about its volume. When I say we have 100 milliliter of the milk, I am saying its volume. Okay. Also, one of the measuring tools is ruler. All of you know the ruler. So the ruler measures how long something is. How long something is. You can measure your book length. You can measure your book's length. Your science book, measure it with the ruler to know how long is it. And this ruler measures in inches and centimeters. So it has two units. Centimeters and inches. From the two sides. In the upper here this is the inches. And in the lower in centimeters. So it has two units to measure it. Okay, we have now here three tools which are clock, measuring cup, and ruler. All of these are measuring tools to measure something, size or volume or measure the time. Ruler has two units, centimeters and inches. Okay, last question here. Choose a tool to measure how long your shoe is. Choose a tool. So you can use the ruler or the meter stick. The ruler or meter stick to know or to measure how long your shoe is. Write what it measures in inches and centimeters. So you can write it, answer it yourself. All of you measure your shoe. Until it measures in inches and centimeters. So you need to write the result in inches and centimeters. So you can use a ruler or a meter stick. Okay, for today this is our lesson. We learned about some measuring tools, 5 tools. We took 5 tools to measure something or to know the amount or the size of something. And we said sometimes scientists just estimate. They don't measure, estimate, or they guess carefully. Okay, see with me this video now by the end of the lesson.
Scientists use many kinds of tools. A tool is an object or device used to perform a task. Tools can help you measure and gather information about the things you are observing. A telescope is a tool that can help you see faraway objects. A computer is a tool that can help you find information and analyze data. Scientists may use many tools to make observations. When scientists use tools, they know that they must always follow safety rules. Following safety rules keeps people safe and protects them from harm. For example, always listen to your teacher's instructions and ask questions about things you do not understand. Never taste or smell any substance. Handle sharp items and other equipment carefully. Dispose of chemicals properly. And always wash your hands well when you are finished. Got it? Sure you do.
Okay, nice. We have a more measuring tool. Sorry, we have here one more measuring tool, which is a pan balance. So the balance measures how much mass an object has. So the pan balance measure the mass. So this is the sixth measuring tools, which called a pan balance. So what does it measure? It measures how much mass an object has. As you measure your weight, also we can measure the mass of something, some objects, with this balance. So this is number 6. To measure how much mass an object has. So we want to measure, if we want to measure the mass of something or any object, we can use this balance, which is pan balance. Okay, nice. So we learned some tools, some measuring tools, which are thermometer to measure temperature, rain gauge to measure how much rain has fallen, and a pan balance to measure the mass of some objects, and also the clock to measure the time, measuring cup to measure the volume, how much we have, okay, and a ruler. So answer this question and tell me your answer. Thank you.